Museum of Brisbane, which Peter, as you know, I chair, has a wonderful exhibition called Storytellers, and that's it, Storytellers. And actually, if you are interested, Peter, and you may learn more about the lungfish, which Professor Hugh Lavery, and I'm sure, Laurie, did you know Hugh Lavery? He's a wonderful
very much
person.
So.
Yes, and you know, he was the go-to man on the lungfish, and he's around and very active, and it'd be really worthwhile, Peter, you doing one of your wonderful interviews.
Sallyanne, because the lungfish in the Roman Street Gardens are one of our undiscovered tourist treasures. Although somewhat,
I don't even know whether I don't know where the lungfish are. So I thought the lungfish were at Mount Coot-tha. They're in Roma Street, are they?
The ones in Roma Street were put there during the last drought, and they were relocated out of the Sandgate Lagoon. I think it's a Sandgate Lagoon.
Yeah, and Bunkin Lagoon and Sandgate there. The lagoon almost dried up, and the lungfish were exposed.
Gasping
yeah,
for breath.
They were, and so they were relocated to Roma Street, and they're getting so big in there now in the lake there. You see them every now and again come up to the surface, and so yeah, they were. I forget how many. There was maybe half a dozen or maybe more went in there rescued from Sandgate. So. Yeah, interesting.
And in Mount Coot-tha, because according to Victoria Carless, the lungfish were in the Brisbane Botanic Gardens and the City Botanic Gardens.
Yeah.
Were they? I didn't. In the ponds there, I don't know that. I thought when we got our lungfish, they came out of Mount Coot-tha.
Yes, yeah. Well, I think we're more likely for them to be there in the big lagoon up the back in the Australian collection at Mount Coot-tha. I would have thought that, yeah, be unlikely for them to be in the city garden, I think, but I stand to be corrected.
Yeah. Well, me too. I've always been corrected. Interesting link to the gardens. Most Japanese cities, when they were twinning with Australian cities, and we were going over there and gifts were to be exchanged, most Japanese cities wanted koalas. So we were thinking about the koalas, but then we were told that no, Kobe wanted lungfish. They were establishing an aquarium, and lungfish were to be part of that because they were unique, they were rare, and they came from Queensland. And we had them in the Botanic Gardens. So there was this great link with our Botanic Gardens, the lungfish, and Kobe. And what's interesting, bringing it right up to the present day, the Museum of Brisbane, which Peter, as you know, I chair, has a wonderful exhibition called Storytellers, and that's it, Storytellers. And that was 9 Brisbane writers were asked to write about Brisbane, and then artists sort of interpreted all that. And one of the stories by a wonderful young woman writer is about lungfish. And when I was speaking to her, she didn't know about the Kobe connection. The lungfish and Kobe are still going strong, and because the important thing about lungfish is that you can't tell whether they're boy lungfish or girl lungfish. So we had to send enough lungfish so that little lungfish would come as a result. And they have, and the Kobe Museum has those lungfish, or the great-grandchildren, or whatever it is, of the lungfish from Brisbane and the Botanic Gardens. So that whole Brisbane, Kobe, Japan, Australia connection continued on, but the gardens, of course, are very significant.
Thank you so much to both of you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, bye.
Finish off the story fully, as can be seen here by an archival photo from the Brisbane City Council, put the lungfish into Mount Coot-tha herself. They were later caught and sent over to Kobe. And I don't know whether there are any little babies left behind that have meant that Mount Coot-tha does actually have lungfish at the present stage. An interesting conclusion to the lungfish story.